Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Coach Prime, the Colorado Buffaloes continue the momentum on the recruiting trail, grabbing another offensive lineman from the transfer portal in Matthew Bedford. And just a quick look at Matthew Bedford, what he's bringing to this Colorado program. 5 years at Indiana, has played over 2,700 snaps for the Indiana Hoosiers in the Big Ten. And now he's coming over to Colorado for a 6th year. And this cycle in the transfer portal for Coach Prime, it feels different, right? Last year, about this time, he was just kind of trying to get this roster right heading into 2023. I think after a full season, knowing what he has, knowing where the roster needs development at, you're seeing a little bit more of a targeted approach. And obviously, the offensive line is the target number one for this program in the offseason. The quality of players is different, right? You talk about the guys that we've kind of recapped on the weekend. A lot of these guys were either guys at the group of 5 level who are making that step up and had plenty of other Power 5 offers, or Power 5 players who have a lot of starting experience at the Power 5 level. You couldn't really say that for the transfers that Colorado was bringing in last year on the offensive line. And you take a look at the last, week or so, starting with the 5-star commitment of Jordan Seaton. Colorado has completely revamped their offensive line. You're going to see a ton of new faces and a ton of depth and competition as well. Like, the depth on that offensive line just wasn't really where it needed to be. This year, the depth's going to be there. The talent's going to be there. And if you're a Colorado fan, you have to feel extremely excited about what this offensive line is going to look like in 2024. We're going to hop in to talk about Matthew Bedford and then talk a little bit about the projected starting offensive line for Colorado heading into the 2024 season, knowing they're probably going to land some more offensive linemen. But as you look at this projected offensive line right now, you feel really good about it. Before we get into it, just want to say thank you to you guys and a special shout out to the Colorado fans. This is a program we've been talking a lot about the last couple of days as Coach Prime's been getting active in the transfer portal. And those episodes have done some of our best performing episodes that we've ever had. The amount of support you guys have shown the boys, it really does mean a lot. If y'all do enjoy the updates, you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Again, Colorado fans, can't thank you guys enough. Without further ado, let's get into Matthew Bedford. And the first thing that pops out is the experience, right? I mean, over 2,700 snaps at the Power 5 level in the Big Ten, going up against defensive linemen that are really quality guys. I mean, seeing Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State defensive lines, those are about the best defensive lines that you could see across the entire country. And Matthew Bedford has experience working against those quality of defensive linemen. You take a look at 2023's year, 416 pass blocking attempts, only gave up 15 pressures, playing in on the guard position. And another thing that you really like about Matthew Bedford is the versatility. This is a guy that played guard in 2023, but in 2022 hopped around from tackle and both guard spots. Having the ability to play on the inside, play on the outside, and kind of be versatile is a massive asset when you're trying to build an offensive line. And Matthew Bedford has done it both. And you look at the frame, like 6'4", 315 pounds. These are the bodies that we need at the Colorado program, like those Power 5 offensive line bodies. But more importantly, he certainly has the frame to play tackle. But he's been really good at guard as well. So wherever he slots in, you feel confident that you're getting a quality Power 5 starter in Matthew Bedford. Want to take us to this offensive line real quick before we talk about one other transfer that Colorado got, and just take a look at the quality of transfers that Colorado is bringing in on this offensive line. And I want to start out with probably my favorite transfer up front, Tyler Johnson, a 2-year starter at Houston, has been an all-conference performer at Houston, a former top 100 national prospect. UC, 6'5", 320. Again, another one of those Power 5 offensive line bodies who's played extremely well on the inside at the guard position. You go look at a guy named Curry Walker who played over 700 snaps at UConn last year, only gave up 10 hurries. You feel really good about potentially plugging him at the center position. Justin Mayers, a guy coming from UTEP, making that jump from the group of 5 to that Power 5 level, had offers from all over the country in terms of Power 5 guys, Power 5 programs that wanted Justin Mayers. So you look at the inside of that offensive line, right? You Curry Walker, Tyler Johnson, Justin Mayers. That is a massively improved unit from a personnel standpoint than it was last year. Then you look outside to the tackle spot. You had a guy in Matthew Bedford who could play guard or tackle. You're going to add depth and talent to whatever position he's going to be playing for Colorado. You go look at a guy like Khalil Benson, who's also played a lot at Indiana as well, coming from the Big Ten. So you're checking off starting experience at the Power 5 level, 6'6", 325. Another one of those bodies that we needed for Colorado on the offensive line. And the last guy I want to kind of talk about is a tight end. And credit to the Colorado fans who were saying in the comments, we kind of asked, what other position group would you like to see Colorado go out and address? And we know there's quite a, not a long list, but there's lists of what positions do you want to see Colorado get better at. Some of y'all said tight end, and they go out and land one of the tight ends that has been really productive with Cincinnati in the Big 12 last year, going back to his 2023 year, caught 23 passes for 258 yards and 5 touchdowns, 6'5", 250. And the thing that I noticed about doing a little bit of digging here and talking about what does he bring to this Colorado offense, he's been extremely good after the catch, over 120 yards of that 250 receiving yards coming after the catch. And he's also been great in the red zone, catching 5 touchdowns. So you take a look at this Colorado team, you know they're going to move the football. When you're trying to beat and kind of reach what Coach Prime wants to do, you got to be scoring touchdowns. And getting a tight end with the frame he has, 6'5", 250, when the throwing windows are getting tighter in the red zone, having a weapon like Shimon Meteor is going to be massive for this Colorado offense. And going back to this projected Colorado offensive line, I probably left out one of the more important offensive linemen of that group, and that is 5-star Jordan Seaton. All right, so you're talking about you got 5 guys coming in through the transfer portal that are playing that offensive line position. And then you also add a 5-star in Jordan Seaton, who's a guy that, I mean, you went toe-to-toe with Ohio State, Alabama to land that commitment, the Tennessee Volunteers. And you have a guy that probably is going to be able to at least compete for a starting spot year one as an offensive lineman. You look at every single spot on that offensive line, it's going to be at least projected the personnel is improving. And so you get now depth, you have competition. It's really hard to see this Colorado offensive line not take a step. And we said it. Like, if they get this offensive line figured out, this is an offense that is going to be massively improved. And it was already an improved offense. You had much improved quarterback play. Obviously, the wide receiver play was phenomenal. You get that offensive line right, you're looking at an offense that's going to take even more steps in the 2024 season. If you're a Colorado fan, you have to be fired up about this one. Again, Colorado fans, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. It's been a blast covering this team and what they've been doing in the transfer portal. We'll be sure to keep you updated with all the roster moves coming up. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.